Sexuality, guilt, and violence. Human sexuality has been a source of ethics and morals throughout the course of our civilization. To tinker with sexual issues, believing that society is willing to accept changes, or alterations, in traditional sexual behavior for the sake of social and political changes, is to play with fire and bet on violence with disturbing and unpredictable results in the future. But, then, why is human sexuality so sensitive to traditional changes in behavior of a social or political nature, or of any kind whatsoever? The answer is that human sexuality is what brings us closer to our animal nature, which fights incessantly against our civilizing tendencies, figuratively representing our struggle between good and evil, between the mundane and the divine, and it is the primary source of the morality of the monotheistic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam in their struggles against the pagan morals of the ancient world. The rupture of the ancient world with the fall of the Roman Empire gave rise with force to the unique and merciful God of Judaism, clothed in Christian humanism, and the moralization of the divine faith of Islam. The source of the primary morality that sustains this movement for a single God is based mainly on human sexuality, exactly the point at which we vacillate between civilization and barbarism. Every time there has been an attempt to alter, circumvent, or redefine traditional sexual concepts throughout our human history in favor of a liberal society, at first, it seemed that yes, human sexuality could be dissociated from morality and ethics. A falsehood. Only so that in a second moment, the guilt reverberated and exploded into violence. In conclusion, human sexuality is not only the source of morality and good customs, but it is also the point at which human beings vacillate between faith and reason, between right and wrong, between civilization and barbarism, between guilt and punishment, making human sexuality a source of constant struggle between guilt, and its most obvious consequence, violence. There is no human sexuality free from these concepts of morals and good customs. Every time in the history of human civilization we have moved away from this, make no mistake, the results have been disastrous, and worse, they have generated excessive violence, the result of the guilt that refers us to our animal behavior. Excessive violence is the result of this rupture between civilization and guilt when traditional sexual concepts are tampered with. The contours of how we perceive the photo of this French king is the same as the one that people perceived 300 years ago. This painting became the official image of the king and the French absolutist monarchical state, and was placed in all civil, religious, and military public offices in France at the time. Nothing happened to this king. However, 3 generations later, his grandson and his wife Marie Antoinette were beheaded in a public square, his son slaughtered with a fate lost to history, and all French royalty and its clergy were massacred in unbridled violence. The tombs of the kings of France were desacralized within the churches in which they were located, their bodies removed, and burned at the stake. By Professor Ricardo Gómez Rodriguez, San Carlos, San Paulo, July 24,